Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Watermelon Podcast. Today is the first of a series of episodes that will shed light and give more knowledge on the food and beverage industry as a whole. We hope that through these podcasts, we can support the community that is Watermelon so that we can constantly get better and make this industry a better place to work in, and as well as a more beautiful place for people to join in the near future. For our first episode, we have the Chief Operating Officer of Watermelon. He, and goes without saying, has had an extensive experience in this marketplace, as well as helping Watermelon achieve its goals. Mazen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's good to just kick this off with you. It's an honor to be on the first one.
Thank you. And it's very good to have you because there's quite a few questions that a lot of our users and a lot of the people who follow us would like to get answered. And I think you're the best person to answer those. They want to know about the history of Watermelon. I'm going to delve into that a little bit just because I am a little bit of the history of Watermelon. So Watermelon started as a food and beverage ecosystem. The idea is to build that community. And as you heard about that community, obviously you became more and more interested, and we were lucky enough to have you come over and support us in building this community. So my first question would be, what are the challenges that are faced or you faced before, and the things that you are facing now that we are trying to essentially make better in the industry?
Absolutely. I think number one, this industry is just coming up on the, going digital. So we're trying to bring everyone to the digital age within our industry. We have majority of the industry working on email, WhatsApp, phone calls, or depending on the person, the human involvement in the process. So we're trying to remove those elements and replace them with more efficient and streamlined solutions through the Watermelon ecosystem. So the biggest pain point, I would say, is service levels. So if you're a small restaurant, you're definitely not going to get the same service levels as someone like a Kitopi, for example. So we're trying to level the playing field, level the service levels, and make sure that everyone is treated fairly, transparently in the process.
Now, in trying to do that, what are the biggest successes that you've seen that we've been able to achieve here at Watermelon?
Absolutely. So we had customers come in through our marketing channels, and within half an hour, they were putting in their first order to suppliers that they wouldn't even be able to reach, even if they tried through different channels. So Watermelon, the marketplace, through the ecosystem, gives them the opportunity to connect and to basically start doing business with those larger suppliers that wouldn't have the time or the bandwidth to deal with the smaller businesses.
Now, the smaller businesses, they're dealing with these larger suppliers, but these larger suppliers are also a little bit, they have their minimum order quantities, so they are a little bit harder to reach because a lot of these small businesses can get those quantities. What do they do? Even if you do talk to them, how do you help with that?
Absolutely. So I think having a spectrum of suppliers is really helping. You could say we were doing matchmaking between the restaurant and the supplier, or the buyer and the supplier. So if, for example, the minimum order quantity doesn't suit your restaurant or your business, you're going to find suppliers that have lower thresholds that would support you as you grow, and then you can graduate to the larger quantities as you add another branch, or as your business starts to thrive in the ecosystem. You'll be able to have access to those other ones. We are looking at solutions to kind of alleviate that through our own fulfillment centers. So we want to kind of break the barrier between the MOQ, MOV problem that's being faced by taking that burden on for the customer, and eventually having our own distribution hubs around the country to kind of.
But that's also helping the suppliers, right? Because the larger supplier has sometimes tough times delivering smaller quantities.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're supporting both sides in this case.
Yeah.
That's great. That's basically in line with us and the community.
Absolutely. And I think another major challenge that's faced is just dealing with the number of suppliers. As a restaurant owner, you were a restaurant owner. We'll talk about the history of Al-Matani, but you can kind of attest to how many suppliers you had relationships with, how hectic it was, and Watermelon as your creation was to solve those problems. So I guess maybe a question to you is, do you think that Watermelon today addresses those questions, those problems that you were having in your own venture?
I believe so. And really, I think one of the biggest advantages that we have in Watermelon, I mean, obviously there's a huge number of features and stuff, and I can go on and speak about it for hours because this is our baby. But one of the biggest positives is that you only need to deal with one entity. As a supplier, you can service multiple restaurants and clients and only deal with one entity for your receivables, for your payments, quality control, whatever you want to call it. And on the flip side of that, as a restaurant, you deal with one entity. So one of the biggest challenges I had back in the day is payments. I had, of course, a huge number of suppliers and I had to pay them regularly. So cash flow had to be very, very strictly looked at as well as managed. And when you have 15 suppliers and more, those are 15 credit terms, 15 payment days and dates, 15 payment and credit. It's just, it was.
And you don't know if you're getting a good deal.
And of course, because you can only deal with one supplier or two at most. So you have supplier A and maybe B, and if you're big enough, C. Yeah. But then you stop there. I mean, large organizations, they create RFPs and RFIs, and they only put 3 companies that they can deal with for the rest of the year. The beauty about us is that you can deal with 100 for the rest of the year, and it's the price that you get. So the one thing that I think maybe I should talk about is the fact that I can go to Watermelon and say, this is what I buy my product for, and this is how much I'm willing to pay. And the companies or the suppliers would either say yes or no. And if they do say yes, now you have a huge number of suppliers that are happy to supply you at those prices whenever the need arises. And of course, you can then pick and choose who's best for you. I think that's a big positive and big advantage. Of course, we do have the financing and the credit capabilities that both sides can apply for and use. And that's, if someone uses it, can really help accelerate the growth of the company you're in. Because as you can imagine, having your cash flow figured out for your daily operation frees up cash for your expansion. Yeah. So that's a big deal, I think. And I think that's something that we should continue as Watermelon to strive towards.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, exactly that. But we are a tech company. Like Watermelon Market, the ecosystem, is a tech company, but we don't shy away from the gradual adoption of our tech. So you'll find us doing a lot of manual processes with our offline customers just to get them, using our platform. We definitely understand that there's going to be a lot of hand-holding throughout this journey that we're taking, but we're definitely, gearing up our tech to make it easy to come in and easy to thrive within the ecosystem. But initially, there is some hesitation in the market,
But that's natural, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving someone a ability to fly.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we're still on horseback.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for someone to fathom the fact that they can actually now lift off and be amongst the birds.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is right.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. You take them from the horse to the car and then from the car to the plane. So try to reduce the number of steps as much as possible. But I think that's really what you're doing here. And granted, there are people who are already flying. So those are the people who very quickly adapt to our software and also are very, very good as part of the community because they help us improve our software.
Yeah.
And then there are those who are yet to be in a car.
Yeah.
So we have to ease them into the
Can I say they're on a camel?
Well, yes, we can actually. We can say on a camel. I would prefer the camel. The camel is definitely more sustainable and can last much longer.
So I guess the sustainability is a good segue.
Absolutely,
Let's
yes.
talk about our sustainability agenda.
So what are we doing exactly? So we say community, watermelon community, and all of that. What does it mean to be a community, and how are we helping this community, and how does that pertain to sustainability and food security and all the stuff that's very important for us?
Absolutely. We can start with the farmers, right, or the manufacturers at the beginning. I think every piece of our community, every member of our community is extremely important to the ecosystem, and we all feed off each other, and we all, we're on this journey together. But I think really focusing our sustainability efforts on our farmers, our suppliers, making sure that we're focused on the UAE's vision for, I guess you could talk on.
Well, it's not just the UAE's vision, right? First of all, it's the region's vision. And I think it's a vision of every single country in the world. And it's food security.
Yeah.
Because you have to make sure that there is enough nutrition for your people. Number one. Number two, you have to make sure that you're supporting industries that are affecting or improving or adding value to the whole economy over and above the financial transaction that's occurring. And I think farming, manufacturing are big players when it comes to countries' capabilities. And it also opens a huge number of doors, not just in that industry itself. So if we're talking about farming, the number of different technologies that we see in watermelon that are being used to farm is tremendous, as well as the testing that's occurring, as well as the different patents and different IPs that are coming out. So we have a company, for example, that does have an IP that in conjunction with UAE University, and they created a product that they sell in the market, and it uses palm trees. This is just one pomade. Yeah, this is one of multiple different stories and multiple different ideas that we will be talking about hopefully in the podcast, and we're bringing them on because they're really, really good things to look at, and it could be improving the way to irrigate, which could be very simple, all the way to taking a fully automated robotic planting system that produces leaves, such as we saw in Armella, where everything is automated from the time they plant the seed to the time they pick the greens. So we see this, and I think the more we see of this, given that we're in a harsh environment, the more that we're going to see technology advancements, improvements, and as well as IPs and patents being recorded here in the
and to add to that, the data points that are collected through our ecosystem would drastically reduce the amount of food waste that we see for crops that go abandoned, basically not sold. So we can support the farmers and the industries by giving them the data points collected not only through our ecosystem, but through the governments as well. So supporting the government and the growers to basically determine a forecast how much they should grow.
Now, you brought up forecast, very important. I'm going to throw a little bit of a tough question to you.
Oh no!
And I'm going to hold you to it because it's recorded right now. And when do you think we will have a capability of giving the farmer an ability to forecast what they need to farm?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we could actually achieve that by year end?
I think every single day we're adding data points, and we're adding the ability to forecast more accurately. I think we could already see certain SKUs that we can support with, not only through our ecosystem. That's why I said shared data points. We need to be able to open our ecosystem to accept data points from everywhere, including perhaps our competition or government, to kind of make those forecasts possible. I don't think one entity can ever fully accurately forecast. We need to be able to open up our APIs, open up our receptors to those data points, so that we can, get better at forecasting. I could tell you today, but it's going to be, the margin of error is going to be off. But by the end of the year, definitely we should be, closer to that accuracy that we need.
Excellent. When it comes to the regular day-to-day business, how do you feel Watermelon is moving? Where do you see us in 3 to 4 months? And what are the features and things that are going to be coming up, since we have you here?
Yeah, absolutely.
that are going to be coming up that we can expect Watermelon to be able to do over the next 3 to 4 months?
I think in my journey so far, the most important thing has been keeping an eye on efficiency, being sustainable, making sure that every single resource that we have, whether it's systems or people, are basically performing at peak or close to peak efficiency. And I think with the introduction of new features through our platform that's launching very, very soon, or depends on what day this podcast comes out, but you should already see features coming out to make us a lot more efficient. So I would say we're moving slowly away from people process and moving closer to tech. So so our daily goals is to make sure that every single order that is placed through our platform is delivered at optimal SLAs by our suppliers, and holding them accountable to that, making sure that everything flows perfectly through our ecosystem, and introducing partnerships that are really going to add value to our buyers and suppliers. You spoke about financing as one. We're looking at a lot of others that are basically our goal, and maybe, I'm not sure if we could say this or not, but our goal is to have a restaurant conceptualized and then launched through the ecosystem. So we want to go from finding the concept of the restaurant all the way to the branding, the location, the staffing, the sourcing of products, and then launching a restaurant. Can you speak on the overall vision, or do we want to?
So yes, I mean, I think you
can cut that.
Yeah, you're opening up a really nice. You're opening up a very nice subject, and what you just said is exactly what the community is all about. So you said Watermelon will do the conceptualization all the way to the operations. The reality is it's not Watermelon, right? It's the partners of Watermelon. So if you were going to start a restaurant, you're going to need the chefs. If you're not already a chef, you're going to need the people to help you design it from inside if you're not a designer, the person who's going to help you build the systems, the person that's going to help you find manpower. You're going to need to be able to buy the equipment. Once you buy the equipment, you have to find the suppliers, get the pricing, get the costing of the menu, figure out which menus make sense, which ones don't. And not everyone, of course, has all of these capabilities, and 99% of the time you will get consultants and people to help you build all of that. And the beauty is that we already have it in Watermelon. So you don't even need to go anywhere. You can come into Watermelon and be able to find all of these different capabilities. What we are working on regularly, I think, in Watermelon is how to make that process consistently easier and better to handle. So when you come into Watermelon, you should be able to do all of that with extreme ease. And I think that's where your idea of efficiency and making things better comes in. Anyways, we lost the light. You looked better for a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah, it's back to...
But me too, right? I mean, there's too much light. But anyways, it's a must. Our communications team does not allow us to talk in the dark. But yes, so this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the community interaction with each other more efficient as well as more secure. So when I do find someone who is supposed to do ABC, I get ABC and maybe even D.
Yeah.
So and I think that's what you've been able to achieve so far with all of our clients, as well as all the members and partners in the community. And when we say we at Watermelon, I think it has to be also said that we mean the community.
Yeah.
And that's all of our partners.
Absolutely.
As a platform, that's our goal. And I think we are achieving that through your great efforts as well as the rest of the team. So first of all, we'd like to thank you for all of that. Thank you very much. Because the reality is, I just blurt out ideas and you guys are the magicians that make it happen. And I'm happy that my ideas stick and you agree to them. So this is always a good thing. Thank you very much for today. It has been a wonderful first blog. First time for me to ever create a blog. So if there are mistakes, I'm sorry. And I appreciate
They're gonna be cut.
I hope so. Yes, they're gonna make me look good. That's what I'm hoping. But you never know. I have to be nice to them until this blog post comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, until the next time we meet, which will be in a couple of months, I'm hoping, so that we can, revisit what we talked about today.
But you said something that got me excited.
Yeah.
To not only be part of the creation process of the podcast, but to watch. Right. Yeah. I can't wait till we have founders of these local farms or local brands, bringing them in and really picking their minds on the challenges that we are here to resolve. So yesterday we were sitting with one of those founders, and it hit every single time we said something that was a feature that's up and coming on watermelon. He said, that's a pain point. We have to solve that. So I think that makes me really excited to be on this journey with you and the team. And I think hearing from them on the podcast would be amazing.
Yeah, we can't wait for that. Hopefully our communications team will be able to get them in, and I'm sure they will, because we have an amazing communications team. So I just want to say thank you to them as well. And thank you again for helping create the first episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Mazen Mourad, COO of Watermelon, as well as Chief Creating Direction.
And Omar AlShamsi.
Yeah, so we have a fire rapid question from our communications team.
Exciting.
Yes, they want to put us...
So rapid. If the watermelon ecosystem was a person, what personality would it have?
Oh, if the watermelon ecosystem was a schizo, you think, does everything? If it was, what kind of personality would it have?
We don't want
schizophrenic? I don't think so, because we know what we're doing.
So ask it again. So that
yeah, let's ask it again, because we don't want to say schizo. I shouldn't look at the camera while he's asking, right? I should be looking behind the camera like you're standing there.
If the watermelon ecosystem was a person, what type of personality would it have?
Huh. You should answer that first, because I'm probably going to get asked that in every episode.
Yeah. I would say, I want to say all-knowing.
Yeah.
I want to say...
the all-knowing.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a know-it-all.
That's true. I would say they're really considerate of the industry, the pain points, and wanting to resolve the issues.
So a considerate, affectionate, emotionally loving organization. Stands by the one love that we talk about.
One love,
right?
Yeah.
But also, maybe on what I would think is my answer to that is, it's the company or it's the person that knows somebody. The guy that you go to and you're like, hey, I need this done. He says, I know a guy.
Yeah.
I think that's what we are.
I think that's a great character. Yeah.
We're the I know a guy. Yeah. Anything you need, we know someone who can help you with that. And that's the idea of the community. You don't need to search. You just need to ask that guy.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone that can do 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
And the answer is always yes, I do. I think that's what we are. As well as efficient and emotional and all of that, and caring and compassionate.
That's a good segue into our next question, which was, if watermelon was a character in a movie, which genre would it be and who would play it?
Oh. So it's got to be a person who, I guess, solves problems, right? If it's
I have an answer. That goes along with what you said. So The Godfather, for example.
There we go.
So The Godfather gets approached a lot for solving those problems and making...
But only during the wedding.
Only during the wedding. So,
so The Godfather during the wedding.
And who would play it? Wow.
I mean, The Godfather, you can't have other.
Yeah, it's Marlon Brando. Yeah, that's
It's
true.
very difficult to think of someone else. Although there are multiple movies about mafiosos, but
Or it could be like the Avengers, for example.
the whole Avengers as a character,
Yeah.
we could be. What's the name of that? The tech guy in the Avengers?
Robert Downey Jr.
Not Robert Downey.
Tony Stark.
Not Tony Stark. The computer.
Jarvis.
Jarvis. Maybe we're a Jarvis. That can just.
We're
think
Jarvis.
that
Yeah,
for everyone. Yeah, Jarvis. That's what we are.
How did watermelon get its name?
Oh, that's a good question. But I mean, that's a question for me, not for. You should ask him. What do you think of the watermelon name?
Okay, so you tell us how you got the name, and then we'll ask him what he thinks of it.
Okay, so what do you think of the watermelon name?
Look, I spent a lot of time thinking of the watermelon name. Why watermelon? And I think, number one, it's a summery, happy thing. Right? It's a fruit that makes everyone feel good. But when you go beyond that, the ecosystem that we're trying to build kind of is symbolic or symbolized by the watermelon, because you have the watermelon that contains the ecosystem, the rind that protects it and connects the seeds to the entire, to the living thing, which is the watermelon. And the seeds are our individual partners and community. So definitely not a seedless watermelon, has to be seeded. But that's a silly answer, but go ahead.
No, but that's absolutely, I think, what watermelon was all about. When we're coming up with the name of watermelon, we thought about watermelon being a happy fruit, and we decided that this market, 90% of the people in it at the moment are not very happy. 10% are because they're with us, but the 90% are not. And eventually, once they are part of watermelon, they should feel like they're having a watermelon, nice, cool, during a summer day on a beautiful beach. Mm-hmm. So I think you've summed it up right. And on the other hand of that, the ecosystem as a watermelon was also the kind of the cherry on top, is that watermelon is an ecosystem altogether. So you actually hit it.
I have a question.
I don't know if you took that answer from me or you cheated.
I think so. Yeah. I have a question. Was it always watermelon, or like during your brainstorms, was it called something else?
Yeah, we had a lot of names, and it wasn't me who came up with watermelon as well. It was actually my brother. And I believe at the time we were eating watermelon. I don't want to say it because I don't remember. But I think it was also that we were eating watermelon at that point in time. It could be, but I don't want to make the story even more dramatic than what it is.
What is the best and worst part about working in a startup?
The best and worst part?
Yeah. In a few words.
For me and for you want to start? You've had a couple of startups.
Yeah.
So you've been. I mean, you have more experience than me. So tell us.
So I guess the best thing for me is there's no 2 days that are exactly the same. Everything is new. Change is the only thing that's actually constant. We're always adapting. We're always growing. And that's the most exciting thing. I think once you've been in a startup, it's impossible to go back, I think, to corporate or
I can
to
understand
a
that.
structure.
Once you've been an F1 driver,
Yeah.
you can't go back to a Toyota Yaris. It's very difficult.
That's true.
I'm sorry. Yes, Toyota Yaris. Right? Yes. Okay. Or is it, Nissan Tida.
Or the Sunny.
Or the Sunny. Very tough.
I think the worst thing, typically life-work balance is affected. Luckily, here at Watermelon, we're better than most. I think we respect that. So I think Watermelon is the ideal startup to be in. So if you're talent out there looking to really learn and to grow, the Watermelon's the place for you.
And I think you're very right with that, because we're constantly changing and adapting, and because we're a platform, we have to understand all the different businesses and how they work, so we understand how to put them together. So it's a great learning experience, I think. If you ask me what is the best and worst, and I'm going to steal from you a little bit because that was also my answer, is the best part about Watermelon for me is the fact that I love what I do, and I'm here day in and day out and 24/7 on it because I love what we're doing, and we're affecting and adding value to people that are close to us. So we actually see and feel the farmer and his pain, and we are constantly trying to help him, and that's a real thing. The flip side of that, the worst part maybe, and not in my view, but the worst part that people may say is the fact that I also have no life-work balance, and that's simply because I love what I do. I mean, I think in general, if you love what you do, and if you have the opportunity to work somewhere that you are really happy working in, you'll work all the time, and
It doesn't feel like work.
it doesn't, right? And it really doesn't. Because you're helping people. When you get a supply done, you can literally go to that restaurant the next day and have that sandwich and say, you know what, I'm the reason that tomato reached you, is on display, which is really cool to have. And I'm the reason that farmer was able to sell that tomato. I mean, you and many others, but it's nice to be in that situation. So it's nice to be in a business, I think, that actually has a true calling to help.
True impact.
I mean, it is still a business. We still try to make money.
Yeah.
But we also have a true calling to help, and it's not just some CSR that we're doing for marketing. It's a real mission.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people like to work here as well. I think it makes a difference. What's the favorite thing you want to do outside of work?
I love swimming. I love the beach. It's kind of too hot for that now, but I'm looking forward to the beach season again.
Again, I'm going to take a little bit from your answer, so I don't know how this is working out that you're saying almost the same stuff, but
We're twins.
yeah, I think so, because I love the sea. Ever since I was young, I was at the sea, so I do miss fishing and I miss diving, and for me those are essential for my general mental well-being. So not fishing for a while does have a negative effect. So I'm going fishing very soon again. So
We got to say,
in case I got on anyone's nerves recently, I'm gonna get better. I just need to catch me one or two fish.
we also have to say our families. We have to spend.
Of course, yes. Also outside the house, family is very important. It's something. Family is very important for me. Family. Right? I said that the right way. I think so. Mazen, thank you very much for the first episode. I think it went amazingly well. We will find out from our viewers. Please do comment on what you thought about this episode, how we can, who you would like to have on these podcasts, maybe the questions you would like answered, as well as anything else that may help us in making this a more valuable podcast for everyone. Thank you very much for watching it. I hope it was fruitful, and looking forward to having you in the next podcasts. And again, subscribe so you know that there's another podcast, and more importantly, join the community. Watermelon.market, very easy. You go in, you sign up, and you'll be off to the races. And before long, you'll be flying. Thank you very much.